Okay. Hey guys, I am with Becky Wynne, and today she's going to talk to us a little bit about some food staples that we can have in our lives. So, Becky, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Becky Wynne. I am a homeschooling mama of three special needs kids. I am a special needs parent mentor and coach, and also a small business coach. So I love this topic, and thank you so much, Ashley. I love this topic. I love your group. I think it's more people need to talk about how we have so many things available to us that we're not taking advantage of, and by doing that, we can save money and we can also save time, and we can also use our resources really efficiently and effectively so that we have more resources for the other things that we want to do, like go on vacations or buy houses or whatever.
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
yeah. So I get asked a lot about recipes because just to give you a little bit about, this is a snapshot about this particular area of my life. um, for 30 years I worked in marketing in New York City and in Washington, D.C. And I worked in agencies, and we went to really fancy lunches where the clients would pay. And, that's what we would do. And that's where I started really getting introduced to amazing food, like how to prepare it, what to eat, um, presentation, all that. And so when I moved to the DC area, I stopped working for agencies, and then, having three kids and whatnot, finances became a little bit more tight. And so, but I still had this taste for like amazing food. And so I started learning through a couple of different places. Serious Eats is an incredible resource that I use. They basically teach you everything under the sun, from preparation to how to do things restaurant style, all of that. I use sites like that, um, all recipes. So I go on all sorts of places to find recipes of things that I want to eat. Either I've eaten them in a restaurant, or I've seen it, or I have the ingredient. So this is one of the reasons why we're able to save a lot. And I cook, I would say 90% of the meals in our house. And so that's a huge savings right there, just to be able to prepare your food at home. But the biggest question I get from a lot of people is, Becky, so I don't have anything to eat in my house. I'm hungry and I have nothing to eat. And so what do people do when they do that? One is that they will go out and order something, right? They'll go do takeout, which is not financially or physically very good for us. Two,
Guilty.
right? And two is that they'll go and eat something unhealthy that they've purchased that's like processed, right? Because it's easy, because they're already
Snack
hungry.
food. Yeah.
But the third is sometimes, like, and I've done it before, where I will just not eat anything. I'll just drink some water and I'll go to bed, because I'm like, done. I don't feel, I'm just too whatever. And this often happens if we're feeling sick, things like this. So these tips are going to be something that you can do when you get into that place. And I'm going to teach you a little bit. I don't have a course on this, but I probably should. But these are the things that I've been telling people, moms, single friends, parents, grandparents, like for years now. So I'm so glad to be able to share them with you.
Awesome.
So the first thing that I really tell everyone to have is an equipped pantry. So when I'm talking about a pantry, it's things that are shelf stable. It's things that will last for quite a long time, and things that you can repurpose multiple ways. Okay. So making sure, like what I always have in my pantry, I'm going to share with you what I have in mine so you can kind of understand how I have it. One is that this money, because what happens is if you buy certain things in bulk that you're going to use over the course of months, you end up being able to have that staple already, and you can just prepare a really good meal at home, and then you're good to go. Two is that you already have it, so you're not going to go out and order some food that you probably isn't good for you anyway. And you can also eat more whole foods this way. Foods that you, and by whole foods, I mean not like foods that you prepare and eat, like rice, things like that. you can have those ready and they're shelf stable, so you can have them for a really long time. The biggest challenge that people have, which I'll talk about next, which is spices, is how to use one thing multiple times. So for staple items that I have, I always have canned tomatoes. I always have rice. I always have multiple pastas. So I'll either have a wheat pasta, I'll also have rice noodles, and I also have different types of flour. So I'll have almond flour, coconut flour, wheat flour. This means I can make pancakes with them. I can add them to cakes. I can also have, I can also make bread. Those are things I can do, and cookies. So you can use, having these staples ready and available is really important, because when you're hungry, um, it's going to be easier if you can pull something from the pantry and prepare it. Obviously, you're not going to bake bread if you're starving, but if you menu plan, what you can do is know that you have the ingredients, then you have time to find the recipe, and then it's ready to go when you feel like eating it. You can plan ahead, things that take more time. Every Friday I make bread. So I always make sure that I have it in the pantry. I have the recipe on the refrigerator, and it takes me about 20 minutes to get the recipe ready and 20 minutes to bake it, an hour to rise. That's it. So if I have everything, I find personally, I'm willing to do the recipe if I have all the ingredients. A lot of people don't have ingredients. They're like, oh, I feel like Chinese food. And then they'll try and pull up a recipe and they don't have half the things. And then they'll go out to the store and spend like $50 on a dish for two people, when half of those things could be in staple. So the other things that I have is oil. So I have olive oil, coconut oil, canola oil, and avocado. And if you're on a tight budget, what you can do is have a budget every month for your food. And basically what you can do is buy one oil in bulk every time you go shopping. And by the time you're done within the first month, you have more than enough for like several months or 6 months ahead. So that's one way of saving as well, is to buy in bulk quality products that will be shelf stable. I also have soy sauce. I have rice wine vinegar. I have sesame oil, because the second thing I'm going to talk about is spices, because that keeps food interesting. And I have picky kids, so it's really important. Other staples that I have in my pantry are like chicken broth, but I do like the bouillon, the better than bouillon, which is a concentrate. I also have things like bone broth, which I can use multiple ways. I use it because it's high in protein. I use it as a meal replacement for me if I'm running around, but I can also add it to like a vegetable dish. And what it does is it boosts up the protein content in that. So my kids get that too. And I use it as a chicken stock replacement. So you can do stuff like that. We also have things like coconut milk. I usually have at least 1 can of condensed milk in there, because who knows if somebody wants something really sweet. I have a variety of dried fruits and nuts, and of course, baking powder, baking soda, salt. And well, now we're getting into like other stuff, but like in terms of my pantry, there's certain things that you really should have at the ready so that you can go ahead and make different things. So I would say making sure you have things like rice and pasta, making sure you have canned vegetables and beans. You can also have dried beans, which are less expensive. And there's a ton of resources where you can check out like how to make these things so they taste just like grandma's from any country. There's tons of recipes like that. So the second thing I'm going to say is spices. So what I've learned is what keeps adults interested in making food is that it's interesting. Now, that means you're going to, when you're going and buying spices, same for oils and more expensive items, go ahead and just buy 1 or 2 at the beginning. Of course, make sure you have salt and pepper. Those are standard. You can also get these in bulk at the store in the spice aisle, but you can also, if you use a lot of garlic powder, onion powder, dried onions, like dried onion pieces, like things like that are very shelf stable, are really great for spices, because you can add them to dips, you can add them to soups, you can add them to sauces. And so it really allows you to, if you're in a pinch, to be able to do that. I also, as part of my pantry, I use essential oils. Young Living essential oils are they're certified for ingestion according to the FDA. So I use them. If I make a Caesar salad and I don't have lemon juice, I use white vinegar and then I add lemon essential oil to it. It tastes just like lemon juice. So I use a lot, like if I'm making chicken, if I make macaroni and cheese, I add a drop of nutmeg. If I'm making chicken, I'll add sage to stuffing. Like these are essential oils that you can use. They're super concentrated and they're organic. So you're totally good to go. Plus you only need a teeny bit and they are totally shelf stable forever. So what I would do in terms of spices is pick the things that you like chili powder, cinnamon. Those types of things are really important to have in your pantry. Things that are savory, things that are sweet and savory are really good. But start building up your spice profile. You can go to any major store now and get curry. So that way, all you have to do is add coconut milk, vegetables, the curry powder with a little bit of salt and pepper, and you're good to go. And you can make some rice and you can have an amazing vegetarian rice curry dish, usually within 20 minutes, however long it takes to get the rice. Okay, what was the third thing I had? So that's the pantry and
Freezer.
freezer. Okay.
Freezer's the next one.
Yeah, so freezer is, I usually have things like pie crust. I have them, you can purchase them in advance. I don't make pie crust from scratch because it takes too long. And with all the butter and all of the mess, I have a lifestyle where I can't be spending hours just making a pie crust. I want to make the dessert and be out in 30 minutes. So
yeah.
Frozen pie crusts are really good. You can get them in organic that don't have lard. You know, I use gluten-free pie crusts. You can make them for quiches. You can use them for pies. In a pinch, you can defrost them, roll them out flat, and you can make hand pies that you can take along somewhere else. There's a ton of stuff that you can do with pie crust. I also have frozen vegetables. It's probably one of the least heralded benefits is you can get organic frozen vegetables for a fraction of the price of fresh vegetables, and they're flash frozen in the field, so it retains all their nutrients. They're also really inexpensive. So what happens is that you can always have a vegetable for every meal. You can just microwave them or you can steam them. Some people are like, or if you're making something like macaroni and cheese, while you're boiling the noodles, for the last like minute and a half, throw in the frozen vegetables in with your macaroni and your broccoli and your frozen vegetables, plus your pasta will be done at the same time. And then you just mix it in with the cheese and the sauce. So things that are ready to use and easy are going to be a huge thing that you're going to really love to do, because you're going to get something really good for you that's not going to make you feel bad. You know what ingredients are going in there. And most of my recipes you can prepare in 30 minutes or less. So I also always have ground beef that I buy in bulk. I usually get the 85/15, but I always pretty much buy organic beef. Almost all my meat I purchase is organic. So with frozen items, what I do is I do chicken legs, like the drumsticks, and bone-in thighs. I will also purchase split chickens that are organic because it's less expensive if you purchase the whole bird than if you buy it as like just chicken breast. There's a ton of iron and whatnot in dark meat of chicken. You can also use it. You can bake it. You can put it in curry. You can make soup. And then what happens is one of my favorite things I like to do is chicken breast on the bone. You put a slab of butter under the skin, salt, pepper, and thyme in a hot skillet, 5 minutes on the skin side up, flip it, put it into a 400-degree oven, 20 minutes, you have perfectly tender chicken breast. Then what I do is I cut the breast part off, and there's always meat in it. And what I do is I freeze that and I use that for chicken stock. So then you get a lot of the benefits and minerals that are in the bones if you make your own chicken broth. So like there are things that you can prepare and reuse and put in the freezer. The other thing I do is I purchase organic carrots and organic fruit a lot of the time. And organic fruit is not treated, so it won't last as long. So what I do is I will literally wash and peel carrots, because roasted carrots with peels are gross. But what I do is I keep the peel in a bag. I have a fruit and veggie bag that's in the freezer. It's all just the ends. I put avocado in there, whatever. I put all of that stuff, frozen bananas that are about to turn, all of that into the bag. And then when I'm making smoothies, I throw it in. Carrots make smoothies like sweeter. So those are the types of things I like to keep in there. I do also keep, you know, I mean, my freezer. So that's generally, so I'll usually do chicken and I buy things in bulk. So if something's on sale that's organic, you can go to Costco and get organic chicken on sale and it comes in those big things. I cut them individually and freeze them individually, the 3-pack. Like if it comes in a 2-pack, I will split it up. I will cut it and then go ahead and freeze that. If you have smaller families, it's a little bit more work, but you basically can have those packages. And that way you have a portion for 2 people that's pre-frozen. All you have to do is put it in, pull it out the night before or that morning, leave it in the sink. It's ready by dinner. That's what I do. I know people are like, you need to defrost it in water because of bacteria. I'm like, I've never died of salmonella. Nobody's ever gotten sick in my house. I don't care. I don't have time for that anyway. So usually if I take something out in the morning, by dinner time, it's ready to go for me. Unless it's like a brisket or something. So in the freezer. What's the next one that I have on the list?
Shelf stable products.
Shelf stable what?
Products.
Uh-oh. Shelf stable products?
Yeah, I think that really ties back in with your pantry.
Yeah. So I would say, there are some things that, coconut milk, in the drinkable coconut milk, almond milk in those cartons. Those are really great. You can take them on trips, whatever. But yeah, that really ties into what I was saying earlier. What was the last one? Was there another one?
The last one is fresh food.
Okay. So fresh food, the way that I do it is I go in once a week to go shopping. I try not to go to the store more than once. One is you end up spending money that you don't need. A lot of the time we go to the store at the last minute because we're hungry and you'll buy stuff you shouldn't eat anyway. That's expensive. And so I try and have an idea about what I want. I've gotten to the point where I can buy whatever is on sale and it's usually organic. Except for Purdue chicken, I'll do Purdue chicken because they don't do hormones. They rarely treat chicken like those chickens with hormones and stuff. So as much as you can buy organic, if you can't, it's better to eat things that are non-organic than to not eat vegetables. Like that's super important. Most people are like, well, it's not organic, or I can only buy 4 grapes. If you're trying to feed 5 people, buy the bag of spinach and just wash it well. I mean, it is what it is. And when you can, try and plan for fresh foods later. So what I always do is I buy the giant bag of carrots that's organic in the organic section. It's super inexpensive. Organic bananas are probably the thing you should always buy at the store. You can make it into banana bread. You can eat it fresh. You can put it in smoothies. They're also really, really inexpensive by the pound. They're only like 30 cents a pound at most places. It is the cheapest food that you can purchase that has the most amount of things that are, like as a fresh item that's organic. So I will also buy greens. So I always have the bag salads that they have. They're not organic, but they're super easy. We probably eat anywhere between 3 to 4 bags of the bag salad. These are like the coleslaw that they make. And it's got the dressing in it. You don't have to use the dressing, but what it does is everything is already pre-made. All you have to do is mix it. It's on the table in less than 3 minutes. And your kids can do it too, which is super helpful when you're trying to get dinner on the table really quickly. You can repurpose that for like barbecue beef, ribs, barbecue chicken. You can also use it if you're making like an Asian dish and you need something fresh with it. They have Asian slaw mixes. Those are great. We always buy produce when it comes to fruit. So we'll usually buy apples and we'll also buy like pears or oranges, whatever is on sale. Even if it's not organic, I'll generally buy 2 to 3 different types of fruit because I want that accessible for my family during the day. We really don't want overeating. We also use giant pitchers of water that are on the kitchen table so that if people see it, it's already there when we sit down for meals. So people just get glasses and that's what we drink. We drink very little soda. Once a week, we drink soda. So yeah, I mean, those are kind of my tips. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff, but you gave me like 15 minutes. I'm already 7 minutes over.
That's totally okay. That was a lot of really good information.
I'm glad that you found it helpful. Was there anything else that you wanted to know?
I don't have any questions about it, but if you want to let people know where they can find you on the interweb
Yeah,
before we
so
go.
if want to learn a little bit more about our food journey, my personal page is Too Busy for Bland, TOOBUSYFOR Bland, BLAND, at Instagram. And that's just our wacky adventures with our family and whatnot. I do have in my Lost to Found identity group, I have quite a bit of recipes. I know you're familiar with that group, Ashley. So feel free to share that link. That's where I kind of talk about my life, and food is a big part of that. So like today I talked about tater tots and how to make like
You're muted, I think. You blacked out for a second.
I don't know. I didn't move. It just like the screen went dark. Anyway, so I have a group where I kind of talk about this and our journey about raising special needs kids, because there are certain challenges that we face as special needs parents, and food can sometimes be it. But these are, we travel a lot and I like freedom of finances. So I really try and have food not be a big part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure
But
you save a lot of money doing that too.
yeah. So if you just want to tag me in the video in your group, I'm happy to go ahead and, or you can drop a link to my group, whatever you want. For those that are, sort of just interested, I have an in the kitchen guide in my group where I share different things like the tools we use, like Vitamix and, other thing. Bonus tip. Uh-oh. Did I mute myself again? Okay. Bonus tip is that I try and buy the best equipment that I can for what it is in that category. So I own a Vitamix and I have for 6 years. Having the right equipment also allows you to be able to cook. I also have, I bought a KitchenAid at a thrift store for $15. And it's like the original KitchenAid food processor, works like a dream. Because there's certain things where if you know what you're looking for, and I love to go to thrift stores anyway, if you buy the best, what happens is that you don't have to replace it. So invest in those tools early on. If you guys want a referral link, there's some stuff in my group too, for a Vitamix and whatnot. But yeah, we invested, I think, $400 in a Vitamix 6 years ago. So you figure that out over 365. We use that Vitamix probably daily. So that's, we make salad dressing, smoothies, pancake batter, all sorts of soup, all sorts of stuff in it. So there are ways that you can save. There are ways to be able to eat really well. And it's just a little bit of preparation and meal planning that can kind of get you there. So I hope that's helpful.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Becky.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure coming on. And I look forward to seeing you in your group, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll make sure that I put all of your links and everything in the description wherever this ends up.
Perfect. Well, I hope you have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Bye.